guys, and welcome to today's video. Today, oh god, I don't know why, but like 10 minutes before this video decided to like do the whole shave my face thing, which makes me go red. Why did I do that? We'll never know. We'll never know. If you recall back to my June to August haul, the one thing I said I would do is do a look with the Blue Blood palette. Now, I've already played with this, you guys, okay? I couldn't wait. Every time I sat down, it just wasn't the right time. Today, it has to be the right time because today we're going to play with it. When I first bought the Blue Blood palette, it literally just reminded me of a throwback to the original makeup I used to do when I went out clubbing, when I used to, when I just turned 18 and I went out with all my friends. We actually went out. That's what it reminded me of. I thought, oh my god, the iconic blue, silver, halo eye that I always used to do, that looking back on it now was probably the worst makeup I ever did. But long story cut short, I thought what we'd do is recreate my old makeup, but how I would do it now. So I'm gonna kind of do like one side of my face how I used to do my makeup going out with a blue halo silver eye thing going on, and then this side of my face of what I would do now if I was to recreate it. Now if I was to recreate it, I would use this majestic thing. I love this palette. I've used it a handful of times. When I say handful, I've probably used it about 3 or 4 times, so a handful of times, and I really like it. It's the same Jeffree style quality that we all know and love. For me, there are a few things missing, like a good navy blue that isn't shimmery. Like I wanted this as a matte, so it's not the blue palette I would create personally if I was to create a blue palette, but it's beautiful and I can't deny its beauty. It's stunning. Some of these products I have got today are originals. They're original throwbacks. They're over 4 years old. This is a judgmental free zone. I'm going to tell you what's old makeup when I apply it to my face. I don't care. So yeah, if you want to watch how I recreate my old clubbing look, old products versus what I'd use now, then keep on watching. Okay, so what I would used to use when I went clubbing was the Rimmel Fix and Perfect Pro Primer. This is so old. They've redone the packaging twice. I've smelt it. It smells fine. I feel like back then, makeup didn't go off. It just goes off quicker now. I feel like makeup goes off in 6 months. This is still going. It smells absolutely fine. It feels fine. It smells how I originally bought it, which doesn't concern me at all because it's about 4 years old. So this is the side of the face I'm going to do of the original, like the now and then. So this is my old face. And then I would apply this stuff. Now, I'm not sure how old this is, but this is pretty old too. So this is the Maybelline New Baby Skin Instant Pore Eraser Lightweight Primer. This was like back when Benefit Professional was released and I couldn't afford Benefit Professional, so I bought this. It still smells how it used to, which is like silicone basically, and I used to just push it in my pores. So that's what I would do to like prime my face back in the day, layer all these primers on. Nowadays, primer schmimer. I like to really hydrate my face. I like to moisturise my face, but if I don't have time to moisturise or I kind of want an all-in-one, I'd go in with a moisturising primer. Now this is the Too Faced Hangover RX primer. It's a lovely hydrating primer. It smells like coconut. I bloody love it. And I'd probably apply a pump and a half across my face. Obviously just doing one side of the face, I'm just going to apply one pump. But this is a really nice moisturising primer. But I'm not really too precious about the primers that I use. Then we move on to foundation. Now, why did I do this? When I was younger, exploring makeup, like really exploring makeup, I would apply as much slap as I possibly could, and I thought that I looked fabulous. I used 2 of the most full coverage foundations that I still own to this day in my collection. I used the Urban Decay All Nighter. I didn't actually, I don't like this too much because it's so full coverage, but I used to mix this in, again, with the most insane coverage foundation that I've got, the Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 Foundation Concealer. So yeah, I used to apply the most yellow full coverage foundations. They didn't match me. to my face. What I would use now is something similar, or this. The Makeup Forever Ultra HD foundation is a bloody good foundation. I really like it. I use quite a few different foundations. The main point I'm trying to make is I use like a medium coverage foundation. So first I would take probably 1 to 2 pumps of the Milani foundation. Obviously I'm only going to do one because it's one side of my face, but I take about 2 pumps of this, and then I take a pump of this, which is the All Nighter by Urban Decay. But it like created this concoction that was still yellow for me, may I hasten to add, but it was like the perfect concoction in my eyes at the time that suited me. It didn't. God, this is thick. And I would not be afraid to cake it on. I would not be afraid, honestly. I would slather this on. Sometimes go in with a second coat. Absolutely cake faced it up. And I just went in with the Real Technique sponge. Some things just don't change. Still love this sponge to bits. But I would go in. I think sometimes we forget, and we always think that the makeup that we used to do is really, really horrific. And sometimes it was. Sometimes my makeup was abhorrent. But I think because we get used to different styles of things and like different ways of doing our makeup, we then go, oh, the way I did that was terrible. But actually, it was just a different style. I'm not gonna lie though, although I look slightly yellow, with a tan, so having that undertone already, this is a bloody full coverage look. I mean, look at my face, yeah, this is a very full coverage look. Sometimes I would forget to drag it down the neck, but who was dragging foundation down the neck back then? Okay, so that's what I used to do. Nowadays, I would just go in with something very light. I don't want it to look too cakey. Anywhere red, anywhere that needs covering, we'll just cover it later. I'm going to just do another tiny bit just so it covers my big old face. I'm just going to use the other side of the sponge just because I can't bother to go wash it. I just like things to look a little bit more natural on the skin side, because I find that when it wears off, it doesn't cake so much. It just looks nicer throughout the night. Whereas back then, I would just shove more powder over it if it started looking gross, which in turn made it look worse. But I thought it looked fabulous back then. Onto concealer. I kind of do things in reverse now than when I used to. I used to just use the Maybelline Fit Me or the Collection Conceal and Perfect concealer, I believe, and I would just put this under my eyes and like splodge it on any spots that I had. Nowadays I just use something a little bit more full coverage, so I go for a lighter foundation and something a bit more full coverage for my concealer. The Maybelline Fit Me is like an oldie but a goodie, and I used to have a very yellowy shade, which I love now to have a yellowy shade, but I would always have the same shade as my foundation colour, which was yellow, believe it or not. But that is what I used to do, and blend it out with a sponge. Nowadays I'm all about little layers as possible. The more you have on, the more it's going to wear off, so I just like to put the full coverage places. This is actually a little bit too light for me, but I can make it work. I do like to go a shade lighter on my foundation now for my concealer, but I'm just going to use the other side of the blender. But this is actually a little bit too light for me. But what's good about this matte concealer is that I don't have to set it. Sometimes I do if I'm feeling extra, but I don't typically. Whereas this concealer is like creasing like a mofo right now, because it's like a creamier concealer. So that's me like done for this side of my face. Again, it's still very natural, you can see things peeking through, but I kind of like that. I like the attention to be on the eyes. I don't like to overdo it with my face too much nowadays. Depends what I'm feeling, but this is like my go-to going out look. I do want to talk about powders because I used to set my entire face with the Vichy Dermablend powder. This is an original pot. No, it's not an original pot. This is my second pot. I love this stuff. I still do. The only thing I don't like about it is the level of flashback that it gives. I used to go into this. This is freaking me out. I don't use powder like this anymore. And I used to just tap it absolutely everywhere. Does this need setting? Absolutely not. But I used to do it anyway. So yeah, if you thought I was matte 10 seconds ago, now I'm very dry. Very dry. Nowadays I'm into this powder. This is like, I absolutely love this powder so much. This is the Fenty Beauty loose powder. I am still a lover of powders even though I do have dry skin, but I just know where to target them nowadays. So what I'll do is I will just push out the concealer that I do have on. Like I said, it's not one that needs to be set, but I would just tap my sponge into it, kind of tap off any excess so it's not too caked in, and I would just press this powder in under the eyes. Like I said, this concealer doesn't really need setting because it's a mattifying one, but I just press a very small amount under the eyes to set it and push it into the skin so it doesn't sit on top. Cake a little bit more on and go into the jawline, because I touch my face quite a lot and I find that the jawline, this area here, is the first to wear off, and it also smells delicious. Now for contour, I used to go into this. This is an original product. I think they still sell it. I'm not entirely sure, but I bought this when they came out with it, so it kind of indicates how old this is. This is the Soap & Glory Soda Powder. It's very well loved indeed. Like I said, it's the original product, and what I liked about this was it's really cool toned. Sometimes I use this now just to kind of sculpt the face a little bit in a bronzer effect, but this is what I would use to contour, because this was like the coolest thing out there at the time, like the coolest like toned bronzer. So I would really go in on this area of my cheek, and I would not stop until I was chiseled. This was this is what I looked like back in the day. Beautiful stripe down my face. It was astonishing. And I also used to take that contour and just go here. Didn't want to blend into the face or anything. Didn't want to take it anywhere but here. Nowadays, if I were to contour, not that I do a lot, I would just contour the highest like inch of my cheekbone and possibly a tiny bit down my nose, and I would use something a little bit like this. This is the Kevyn Aucoin sculpting powder in the shade Light, and I'd use the powder brush that I was using because it kind of diffuses out the intensity of it a little bit, and then a little bit down the nose, just a tiny bit, just to kind of create more of a shadow more than anything. For bronzing, this is a throwback. This is the Too Faced Soulmate Blushing Bronzer in Carry and Big. And I would take a MAC 135. I was so happy to get this brush. I think I got it on Jaclyn Hill's recommendations. Before, I would use the Real Techniques blush brushes. I still use them to this day. I absolutely love those brushes. And I would basically pick up this product that, may I say, is not the best of quality nowadays, but at the time I loved it, and I would bronze to the gods. Nowadays I would take something a bit smaller. I'd take something a little bit similar to this sort of brush. This is the Morphe Jaclyn Hill JH05, and I'd go in with something similar to this, not too matte, not too sparkly, and I would just bronze toward the face. I like to focus the bronze more high up into the face because it draws the face up a little bit more. You cannot pick these up anymore. I can only apologise, but my god, Rimmel, they just don't do it like they used to. These blushes were my everything. This is in the shade Pink Rose, and this is in the shade Bronze. I used to take both of these on a Real Techniques blush brush and go mental. I'd literally just go crazy. I love these blushes still to this day. I love this blush brush still to this day. It's my favourite blush brush. No one will take this brush away from me. I have about 7 of them. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty accurate. Like, it was I used to be very pink on the cheek, and then it kind of faded out into this more beautiful one. I swear this was called Santa Rose. Why did I think this was called Santa Rose? Although I still love these blushes as much as I did back in the day, I actually really like the Charlotte Tilbury blush at the moment. I only bought this a couple of months ago in my collective haul, but I just love it so much. I also love Milani Luminoso. It's just a favourite. To be honest, I'm not precious about what blush I use. I just like to use a nice neutral, kind of maybe sort of rocature sort of colour, like a rosy coral, and I just tap this on top of the apples and drag it back just because I like it to be blushed. I don't go as ham as I used to, like all over the cheek. I pat nowadays. Now, back in the day, Mary Luminizer was my girl. She was my right hand woman. This is my original Mary Luminizer. She's seen pan. She's seen a lot of it. I still love her. She's still my main girl. But this is the only highlighter that I owned, I think, as well as an MUA like white eyeshadow. And I would always use a fan brush and put quite a lot of this on, but I'd only ever put it here Look at that. Oh. Love the Mary Lou. When I go on a night out, this is like my go-to, oh look at that. This is my go-to highlighter for when I want to go out and I want my highlighter to be popping. This is the Colourpop Flexitarian Super Shock Cheek formula. And I just take it on my ring finger. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. And I tap and blend it into the cheek. And I just find that this looks so... It looks so wet and gorgeous. I absolutely love this highlighter. It's my go-to going out highlighter. It's a little bit much for every day, I think. My technique for eyebrows is very, very different from what it used to be. I mean, this is the original. This is the original, okay? This is the charcoal brown matte eyeshadow from MAC. It's panned. It's very, very panned. I've got a backup, but it took ages. And I just used to use this massive Zoeva brow brush. And I didn't used to spoolie my brows or anything. I used to just draw a line. They weren't thick and gelled up and fluffy. They were just kind of a little bit stamped on. That is how I used to do my brow. Very blocky, kind of soft but blocky. I kind of miss powders actually. It's kind of weird. It's made me reminisce a little bit. Nowadays I enjoy a fluffier brow. I love the Colourpop brow products. They're my favourite brow products. I'd probably say up with Benefit. Benefit I like my second favourite only because Colourpop's cheaper. Let's just be real. And then after gelling my brows up, I just use the spoolie end of a brow brush, comb through them just a little bit. I don't want them to go too high, which is what's happened a little bit. And then go into a pomade. I like pomade just because they stay for a bit longer. I feel like when I've got all the makeup on, I'll tell you which brow style I prefer. Maybe I've become a bit more extra. This is a little bit too blocky for my liking at the front. I usually go for a bit more of a fade look, but I don't know, which brow style do you prefer? Like long, skinny, kind of warm, or a bit more thick and juicy looking? I'm not sure what I prefer. I think I like this one. I don't know. Now I used to go in with the Maybelline Colour Tattoo 24-hour wear. It's in the shade Everlasting Navy, and I used to just take a boatload of this and put it all over my eye. I just zoomed you in so you can actually have a look at what I'm doing, but I used to pat this only on my eyelid, nowhere else. Now this is an original right now. This is the Revolution Redemption Palette Essential Day to Night. And I used to take the Bedelium Tools 785 brush, a classic. This cost me so much money back in the day. And I used to take a hair of this shade right here. And I used to just blend out that cream. My god, this brush is spiky, and I forgot how disgustingly spiky this brush was. And then what I used to do is I used to take this kind of blurple navy shade right here. This was like my favourite shade back in the day. This is exactly what I used to do. And I used to go from the outer corner of this look, and I used to never like wing it out or anything. I wanted to keep my eyes nice and circular. And I used to go in the inner corner as well, because this was like the start of the halo eye. Okay, so that was it. That was pretty much it. And then what I used to do was take this frosty white shade right here, rub my finger in it. I mean, it's hard panned to filth, but I used to take my finger and then kind of just pat this in the middle, and that was it. That's done. That is done. I mean, I love the colouring. I love a good navy blue eye, but that was it. No blending of the crease, no highlight. That was it. Obviously now eyeshadows have completely improved, and I'm going into my Jeffree Star Blue Blood palette, and it's like similar tones to this one here, which I think is the one I'm going to use. But this is how I would do it now. I'm going to just point to the shades and then kind of show you what I would do. If you do want an entire look just with this palette, then I can do that, but I know it has been so long since I did my haul, I didn't know whether to give it a dedicated video or not, but I thought I'd incorporate it in one because people did say they wanted to see me use it, and I feel horrifically bad because it's taken me so long. So I'm going to point to the shades and then apply them to my eyes and show you. Like I said, if you want a dedicated review, just say and I will do that for you, and I will actually do it instead of saying that I will and then don't. Okay, so that's the eyes. I mean, it's dramatic, but it's like the on steroids version of this transformed into this. Now, I love it. It's slightly drag queeny. I prefer the detail that I've put in. I mean, I'm not exactly the best at all at cut creases and things like this, but it's far better, I think, than this. To be honest with you, I cannot remember what sort of mascara I used to wear, but I'm applying false lashes either way because I wanted to show you what lashes I used to wear, so I'm just going to apply the Benefit Bang Out Bang on both eyes, okay? It's mascara. Is it really going to make a difference? No. So for lashes, I would now typically go for something a little bit more audacious. These are the unicorn lashes in Forget Me Not. They're a beautiful, beautiful pair of lashes. Obviously, I'm just doing it on one eye. And I use the Revlon Precision Clear Glue. Love this glue. Love it so much. I love the applicator. It's got like this brush tip to it, and it dries in literally like 10 seconds. But while I'm waiting that to dry, I originally, back in the day, the first lashes I would ever wear were the Ilia number 70 lashes. They're very, 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 very natural. This was my going out lash. I feel like I've leveled up in my lash game now, and I also know how to apply them better. For this sort of look, I would like a big lash just because it's a big look, it's very dramatic. I think a little lash would just get lost in this, but I do like a fluttery lash, and I would consider this like a thick fluttery lash. It's obviously fake. A little bit of black winged liner would really make that blend in, but if I'm honest, I probably wouldn't with a look like this. I'd probably just make sure that I perfect the band just on top of the lash line, which is kind of what I've done. I feel like you can't see it too much. Over to the natural side, going into the Ilia natural, very, very natural 70 lashes, and I'm going to take the left piece. Believe it or not, I didn't believe in buying lash glue back in the day because I used the free one that it came with, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. Oh my god, holding this in my hand, it's just so tiny. Look how tiny and natural this is. This was my going out lash. And of course this glue takes a million years to dry, so I'm just going to sit here and wait for it to dry a little bit. Okay, I kid you not. This lash has taken me a solid 10 minutes to apply one. No wonder I hated lashes. What the hell are these? I had to like push them onto my eyes, but they kept springing up, and even now they're not attached properly. But I mean, you can't even tell that I've got lashes on anyway because they're so gentle. But this was the lash situation. Finally, we go on to lips. Now, I used a variety of lip products, and the Soap & Glory original lip products were my absolute die-hard favourites. I didn't want to mention them on camera because they are discontinued. Soap & Glory have new lipsticks. They tore my freaking heart out when they discontinued those lipsticks. There was no need. They could have just repackaged them. They could have renamed them. I don't care, but those colours were friggin' everything to me, and they discontinued the whole line. I'm very bitter about it. But what I did use a lot was the Revlon Ultra HD Matte Lip Colour. This is the colour Seduction. I love this shade. Actually, I did a lip swatch video of all of these, and that got quite a lot of views. I think it's like one of my most viewed videos, which is insane. And this is a really good shade. I really like this one. This is like my second one because I used to apply this quite a bit. It's like a glossy matte. It's like matte but not matte. And then that was it really for the lips. Nowadays I have a few processes. I like to go in with a lip liner. The MAC lip liners are my absolute die-hard favourite. I have collected a few. This is in the shade Whirl. This is just like a really nice shade. And now I've got concealer in the corners of my mouth. That's vile. I kind of overline my lips a tad, just a smidge, just a smidge. So I've just zoomed you in a tiny bit. You might not be able to see, but can you just see I've overlined my lips just a touch, just an absolute touch, just kind of right to the bottom here, and then right at the top portion. I don't like to overline back here because it makes me look like I've got sausage lips. I'm going to go into the Colourpop lipstick in What's Your Sign. Love this. It's just like a nice nudie shade. And I'll apply that obviously where the lip liner isn't, so just kind of the centre. And then I go over with my favourite gloss. This is the Fenty Gloss Bomb. I like to predominantly just put this in like the centre of my lips, just to make them look extra juicy. I like to leave the corner of my mouth free from lip gloss in case it gathers, but oh my god, this lip gloss is sexual. I love it. I love it to pieces. Some things just don't change. Setting spray is one of them. The Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. To be honest, the Chill, the De-Slick, they're all my favourites, okay? Skindinavia and Urban Decay do the best setting sprays. This lash is really itching my eye. It's really painful. It's just the best setting spray. This is the Chill, just because it's on hand. My all-nighter is actually in the drawer. That's what I thought I picked up, but it's the same concept. It does the same thing. It's just like one's a little bit more cooling, one's not. The all-nighter setting spray has been my favourite for many years. It doesn't do me wrong. It's the setting spray I will always put on my face. I am never without it, okay? I don't know what else to say, but it's my favourite, so therefore I'm going to just apply it all over my face, because that's what I would have done back in the day and what I do now. So yeah, that is it. That is the look. This is my before, you know, back in the day clubbing look, and this is how I would recreate it now. I feel like now I'm more dramatic and more expressive with the eye makeup, 100%. I'm more specific about where I apply product. I feel like this is far more precise and perhaps you could say a bit more natural on the skin, whereas this side is a bit more heavier. It's very obvious I'm wearing makeup. It's a little bit more, it's not very targeted, you know, it's just a little bit more like, and perhaps you could say it's the makeup that I had at the time. Now I have a lot of makeup, I have a lot of choice, and that's probably because I've got a better paying job and I can afford nicer makeup. I also enjoy doing YouTube now, so I buy more makeup to review and I can see what's good and what's not. Then I just couldn't afford the high quality makeup. I couldn't afford an Urban Decay palette until, crikey, maybe 2 years into really enjoying makeup. Like I said, like one of my first eyeshadow palettes was from my friend, and I think this is £6 back in the day anyway. So eyeshadow palettes weren't really a thing in my makeup collection. I had like little tiny brown eyeshadows and singles. They weren't, and these things, the eyeshadow tattoo things, it wasn't really a thing in my collection. So I feel like eyeshadow is definitely something I've improved on. I feel like I'm rambling on a little bit just because it's getting later and later into the evening and I'm like blah, 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 verbal garbage. But what side do you prefer? Do you prefer how I did my makeup then? Or do you prefer how I do it now? Is there bits that you like of each? Are there elements in your makeup that you used to do and you don't do now, or you still carry on? Are there tips that you have taken throughout your entire makeup life? I'd really like to know, so comment that down below. Start the conversation off, because I feel like makeup has really transformed in the last 5 years, and you know, doing the same look, they look so different, and in person this looks so far less cakier and more blended and just more va-va-voom without looking cakey, whereas this side doesn't look that va-va-voom and it looks real cake face. Yeah, what do you think? Tell me down below. Tell me your experiences. Tell me what your makeup is like now and what it used to be. Really interested to know. Do you still use products like me? Do you still use the products that you used to use? Got some holy grails? Thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. I have rambled on this video. I imagine it's so long. I really hope it's not. I'm going to try and edit it down as much as I can. Subscribe if you haven't already and ring my bell. I upload videos every single week and you wouldn't want to miss out on that, would you now? Thumbs up this video if you did enjoy. And if you want another look with the Blue Bloods palette without all of my rambles and all of this base stuff going on, do say, and I can do another look with this, maybe a bit more of a natural look. It's up to you. Tell me if you do want to see that. I won't bother if you don't, that's absolutely fine. And spark off the conversation down below. I really want to have a conversation with you guys about makeup. Before, now, what's going on in the makeup world. Have a discussion with me, because I love talking to you guys. Thank you guys for watching once again. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye. Let's do a look with the blue blah. Now, when I first bought the Blue Blood palette, the Blue Blood palette, that's a tongue twister. I can't remember my first blush. In fact, oh no, I do remember my first blush. Ah, it's so beautiful.